Good morning, sir.
Hello. Yes. Good
Good
morning.
morning, sir.
Yes. Good morning. Okay. So let me start then. Okay. So in the last class, okay. So this particular subject is the optimization technique. That is a soft optimization technique. So since you know that this subject is taught by, means it is shared between three different faculties. Principal sir is also taking one part. John sir is taking the other part, and I am taking the third part. So the chapter which I started actually was the multi-objective optimization technique. Okay, so that was the discussion we were having. Okay, so we're starting with the multi-objective optimization technique. So till now, because since this class is scheduled once a week for my class, so that is why I'm just recapping what we have discussed in this particular chapter. Okay, so in this multi-objective optimization technique, okay, so we have seen that any optimization technique applies some unique method in order to solve a problem or to find the solutions of a function. Now a solution of a function can be a single solution. Generally we know that whenever there is a function, suppose fx equals to x square plus 3x plus 1 equals to 0. So if it is a quadratic equation of power 2, so we will have two values of x and they will be fixed. But if we have a equation of x to the power 100 or x to the power, say, a huge magnitude or a huge exponent of power, okay, so as I was telling that suppose there is a function where x to the power 100, that is a huge exponent or huge, the function is a huge power. Okay, so in that case what happens, the solution has to be unique, obviously, because if the equation is x to the power 100, so there will be 100 solutions of x. Okay, now if it is a complex function, then there will be 100 solutions of complex roots. Okay, now if it is not a function like that, so if now this is a single objective function, now suppose there is fx, f1x, f2x, and where we have x, y, z, so many variables are there. So that means there are sets of equations where we have three different variables. Okay, and putting those variables we find an objective function. Now we have two objective functions. Now we have to solve them simultaneously, where one objective function is independent of the other, but the variables are dependent on each other. That means objective function f1 has some variables x, y, z. Objective function f2 also has some variables x, y, z. The functions are different, but when you solve them, the values of x, which is determined in the first solution, will also affect the function of the second solution, because x is present on both the functions, similar to y and z. So this is a multi-objective problem. So there can be two objective functions, there can be more than two objective functions, 3, 4, 5, 10, whatever. So whenever we solve this kind of problems where there are multiple objective functions and we have to find the solution, so normal method of finding the solution will not help us. That is why we go for some optimization technique. So we optimize the problem. Rather, suppose there is a function where it is told that what will be the variables such that the cost is minimized. Now, an example I've shown you that purchasing a car. Okay, So if the criteria is that you have to purchase the car which is the lowest price in the market, so you will be going for the lowest car. But if it is told that you have to purchase the car lowest in the market, but it should be within these three companies, and their the performance should be this. So then you have to sort and you have to analyze everything, and then you have to come to conclusion. So that means this is a multi-objective function. So you have to find the best car, but you have to keep in mind all these three criteria. Similarly, in power system engineering or in any engineering, I'm relating to power system because since it is the area where I'm working with. So what happens, suppose if I tell you that you have to find out the values, because all of you have studied in power system that the transmission line loss is directly dependent on the current, okay, and the voltage also to some extent, because voltage and current are very much related to each other when power transmission is concerned, because when you're transmitting a power, if the voltage is high, the current will be low. That is why we go for higher voltage transmission, extra high voltage or ultra high voltage transmission. So voltage and current has to be controlled. Similarly, there are other parameters also which has to be controlled. So if it is told that there is a transmission line, a set of transmission lines, and you have to minimize the power loss, and you have to set such values of current and voltage such that the power is minimum. So what you have to do, you have to apply the load flow analysis, and then you have to find out that if these are the values of current, then what is the solution of the power loss. You see that power loss is something X, okay, a P1, power loss is P1. Now you change the values accordingly, then you get the second power loss. So in this way the optimization works. Now optimization techniques are actually proposed by different mathematicians and engineers. So they propose different techniques. Suppose one person is proposing one particular algorithm, saying that this algorithm is quite good because it helps you to optimize any problem, find a solution to very complex problem within 10 iterations, okay. And the second person proposes another optimization technique, says that my optimization technique is better than yours because my optimization technique may take 20 iterations, but it gives better solution, okay. So in this way, this entire tussle of optimization techniques keeps going, and in every day in every year you will see, if you dig into this particular you can say this concept or the area of optimization, you will see that every year certain optimization techniques are developed, okay. These optimization techniques are developed in order to prove them superior to the previous generation, and many cases hybrid techniques are used. Suppose there are two optimization techniques, optimization technique A and B, and one author thinks that A is good, B is also good, but if I hybrid them, I may get a better result. So they do hybrid these algorithms, okay. So these are the techniques. So now the discussion we were having about the multi-objective. So in my lecture I have not started any optimization technique yet. I was just discussing about the concept of the multi-objective function. So what is multi-objective? How to solve a multi-objective function? Now in order to solve a multi-objective function, the method of Pareto optimality should be utilized, because Pareto optimality, as we have discussed in the last class, helps us to sort between the best among the others in a very quick manner, okay. Because as the discussion we had in the last class, that in Pareto optimality, that it is a technique of finding, it is not an algorithm, it is a technique, that generally algorithms use this technique for their operation to solve any multi-objective function, okay. They have to find the optimal solution, okay. So they adapt this particular technique. So it is a concept, Pareto optimality is a concept. So the question, or you can say the problem or an example which we discussed in the previous lecture, that if you have 5 sets of tickets and these are the prices, these are the traveling time. So we have seen that B no one will choose, okay, because you have C better option, and D also no one will choose because you have E a better option. So you can say the confusion or the you can say the your option may lie between A, C and E. So they are called the non-dominated because they are actually, all the three are having some, you can say some criteria, or you can say some this some strength in them. Okay, so those options are somewhere attractive, which may attract some different sets of customers. So one who cannot afford a flight more than say 1700 will opt this one, and if a customer is having a budget of 2000 can opt this one, and if he is having no budget, no limit to budget, or time is important, then he can choose this one, because no way B and C will be chosen, because everywhere there is some superior option which is somewhat better than these two options B and D. That is why they are called the dominated, because they are dominated by the other options, and the options which are dominating are non-dominating, are called non-dominating, because no one is dominating them, because you cannot say A is dominating C or C is dominating A, because it may look that C is taking less time, so it is dominating, but A is taking less money. So that is why A and C cannot dominate each other, so they are non-dominating. Similarly for E also. That is why we have discussed this one, we have already discussed in the last class, that A, C, E are called the non-dominating. Okay, and B and C are the dominating. Okay, so we can plot a graph like this, that with respect to the time and price, with our example, we can see that C, E, C, A are actually decreasing linearly like this, as if the price is decreasing but the time is increasing, isn't it? We can see that A is taking 10 hours for $1700. C is taking somewhat, it is taking $1800, but it is taking 8 hours, and E is taking 6 hours but $2200. Okay, so they are actually placed like this. D and B are placed above, so they are not the dominating one. So we can draw a line in this way to extend that if this kind of criteria exists, then we can also have some other options also, where similarly we can have another point X, Y, Z and P, Q, R, which can have some better deals, okay, or similar deals which are all non-dominating. But D and B will not be lying in this line because they are dominating, so they lie in the feasible region. But the line which is carrying the non-dominating values or variables, that line is called the Pareto front. So this particular line is called the Pareto front. Which line? Line which is carrying the non-dominating solutions. Okay, better solutions. That means E, C, A are better than D and B in this way. So this is a simple problem we have sorted out. But in complex problems, what we do, this finding out the line is very challenging. Okay, so whatever, this Pareto front is the line, and these solutions are the Pareto optimal solutions, because the Pareto optimal term we have already discussed in the previous lecture, that whenever you find a better solution compared to the previous one, then we call that the solution is a Pareto optimal solution. Okay, and in this way, if you keep on finding out the better solution after every iteration, and after a certain iteration you find that you are no longer getting a better solution compared to this, so those solutions which is the last to be declared as the best are called the Pareto optima. Okay, so all Pareto optimal solutions are non-dominated, and thus it is important in multi-objective optimization to find the solutions as close as possible to Pareto front and as far along it is as possible. Okay, so that means this line should be as far, that means it should be extended in such a way that you can get more solutions. Now finding the Pareto front. Now suppose for the following feasible regions with objective functions f1 and f2, suppose you have a multi-objective function f1 and f2, and they are being displayed in this way in two axes, that you have to find the solutions within this particular region which will give you the best solution for both f1 and f2 simultaneously. Okay, suppose these two are minimizing functions. Okay, minimizing functions. Suppose you have a problem in engineering, in electrical engineering, where you have to determine, you have to design a machine which is very less in cost and also very high in efficiency. Okay, so that means you are designing a, suppose you're designing a fan, okay, or a you can say an induction motor. Okay, so the technique should be, the objective should be that your cost should be very less, but that should not sacrifice the efficiency. So your power loss will also be less. So the induction motor should be designed in such a way that it does not have too much power loss in terms of heat, or you can say constant loss or running loss, whatever. So that means f1 is cost, f2 is the loss. So both have to be minimized. So you have to find the values of the variables. So what are the variables? Variables may be the material used, what kind of material you're using, okay, what kind of what is the current rating or power rating, okay, depending on that, what should be the current, what should be the resistance, what should be the impedance, okay, what should be the reactance. So these things has to be determined. That means you are finding the best solution. So this is the feasible region, or this is the total region where you have to find this Pareto front. That means you have to find that line where the best solutions lie. Okay, and you have to separate from the other solutions which lie in the feasible region. So this lies the Pareto front, that is the best solutions. Okay. Now, suppose one way to imagine finding points on the Pareto front is by a combination of numerical weights for the two objectives. Now, generally what happens, it is not very easy to find the Pareto front. That means in a complex problem, you cannot directly find the best solutions. So finding the best solutions means you are trying to draw that line. You have to look, you have to identify the line where the best solution exists. But in many cases, it becomes very much, you can say, impossible, because in highly complex problems, it may take 100 or 200 iterations, but you cannot find the best solution. You are finding a solution and telling that yes, this is a good solution, but after all, if you take the solutions and if you put those solutions in the function and then you see that cost and loss, you will see that no, cost is not minimized, cost is huge and loss is also huge. So somewhere you are not able to find the best solution because you are not able to find the best among the entire population. So for that, we use some weight function. That means our objective is to locate that Pareto front, that line which is carrying the best solution. Suppose you are not able to find, you are finding random solutions. Suppose this is one solution, suppose you are finding some solutions like this within the feasible region. Suppose you are getting this solution, this one, like this solutions, but you are not able to get this solution on this particular line. That is why what we do, we use some weight functions. Weight functions means W1 and W2, some variables, random variables, such that W1 and W2 should be equals to 1. Okay, because in MATLAB you can write like this, W1 equals to rand. That means any random variable between 0 to 1 will be allotted to W1 and W2 will be written as 1 minus W1. Suppose W1 is 0.3, then W2 will be 0.7. It may change in the second iteration. If you want to keep them fixed, you can keep them fixed. So what it does, when you use this weight function, you multiply with the actual function. Suppose f1 is the first function, f2 is the second function. You want to find the line of the Pareto optimal, okay, Pareto front. So you design your own objective function, taking those two objective functions, and you design your own objective function. such that W1 is multiplied with F1 plus W2 is multiplied with F2. Now what does this weight function do? This weight function helps you to directly jump to the Pareto front. How? See this graph. Previously, if you don't use the weight function, you are finding out random solutions, which I have already mentioned with these red dots, which are in the shaded region, feasible region. Now suppose you have a weight function, W1, W2. Suppose this is W1, this is W2, this gap. Wait, let me show you. Yes, this is W1, this is W2. When you have W1 with you, you are taking this point, okay, and you are multiplying with F1. Now you have W2. W2 is 1 minus of W1. So this is W2. So they are related. So you take W2 over here. This is W2. So W1 into F1 plus W2 into F2. Okay. You're reaching over here. Now if the W1 changes in the next iteration, suppose it becomes 0.4. This is 0.6. So 0.4. 0.6 you reach over here, then in this way. So whenever you change the variables, you are somehow getting some chance that you reach this particular line. This is just a graphical representation. This is not the actual problem, but this is a you can say a representation which shows that if you follow this thing, the search becomes very easy, because generally what happens, there is a search space. There are random solutions, because if you want the value of f1 and function f1 is having suppose variables x, y, z. Okay, f2 is a function which is having variables x, y, z. Now, as I've told you, solution of x in f1 will also hamper the solution of f2, because x will only get one solution. So if you put in the two functions, you will get two separate values, but x value is common. Suppose x value is 3, so you have to put 3 in both the functions. That means they are optimized together simultaneously. So everywhere we have some based value of x over here. Okay, so random values are present. Suppose imagine that there is a space and there are particles. So among those particles, there are three particles. This one, this green, this blue, and this yellow. Okay, that means this one is the value of x, this is the value of y, this is the value of z. These are the best values, but you cannot find them directly because there are multiple variables. You have to find, your objective will be search. You have to search them, you have to find them. So that is why these techniques are used. So how to find them? You cannot randomly find them. Okay, so what you do, you take one variable, you see which is this is better or not. If not, then you take this, you take this. In this way you change the values. Okay, now values are generally in order, because it is told that the values of x, y, z should be within 1 to 10. Okay, so you will take some random selections between x, y, z. So what does weight function do? Weight function helps you to jump into the solutions. Okay, generally weight functions is a simple example of weight function, but weight functions do exist in different ways also. Okay, different techniques apply different weight functions and different complicated weight functions also, because series of equations will be there to find their based value. So the thing which is being highlighted in this particular section is that these weights help you to find or locate these solutions in a better manner. Without the weight, you cannot locate them very easily. With the help of weight, you are able to locate them very easily, as if they lie in a particular line of the Pareto front. Okay, in this way the search becomes easy. Okay, this is a technique. So if this is done for a 90-degree span of lines, all the points on the Pareto front will be found. That means if you continue this, okay, 90 degree means if you take this area, then you take this area, okay, then you take this area. In everywhere, if you take this, okay, W1, W2 like this, you will see that after certain iterations, you will find some line which is line over here, which may lie over here, which may lie over here. So you will find the best solution, group of best solutions. So this is actually done by, you can say, trial method, because optimization techniques use these trial methods. Okay, they have a particular equation. According to that equation, they find the solutions, but the variables are updated using those equations. Okay, but generally they start with a random equation. They start with trial method. So after those trial method, you may find that you are able to locate the Pareto optimal front, okay, Pareto front in this way. Okay. Hello, I'm audible now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, actually the connection
Yes.
was lost due to the power cut. Okay, so if you have missed out, then you can do one thing. I was actually explaining it, and I am continuously recording the lecture. So I don't know from the point where I missed out. So I'm explaining once again, but you can also revisit the lecture in the YouTube. Okay, so you will get this lecture in the YouTube as well. So from there you can relate. Okay, if you have missed out, because I don't know where I've left out in the power cut. So whatever. So this was actually, I was discussing that the weight functions helps you to determine the weight. The weight functions helps you to weight actually helps you to determine the best solution very easily, because there are multiple solutions. From there you have to locate the best. So it helps you to locate the best solution very easily. Now the limitations. Now basically realistic procedure is that there are still limitations in the Pareto optimality technique. Okay, so there are different methods used in practice, but one is to use a genetic algorithm to enumerate points. So basically this Pareto front is our objective. Our objective is to find the Pareto front. Okay, our objective is to find the Pareto front. So the Pareto front can be determined by different algorithms or techniques. So genetic algorithm can be used to find these particular points. Okay, and different other techniques are also used, because most of the problems use this technique of Pareto front. Okay, So genetic algorithm is one particular way, but there are multiple ways. Okay, multiple techniques which can be applied. Okay. So actually this is not the procedure that is used in practice. So nowadays many different algorithms are used. Now this procedure would require finding all the possible points in the feasible region and then using many combinations of weights. So weight which we are discussing, that this W1 and W2 weight functions, they help us to determine the best solution or reach the Pareto optimal Pareto font. But weights do not always help us. In some cases it may help, but in some different objective functions it may not help, because every problem is unique. Because finding the best car is not similar to finding the best air ticket, and designing a best induction motor is not similar to designing the best transmission line. So every problem is unique. So solution to the problem, one technique may help you to determine the solution to a problem, but that technique may not help you to determine the best solution for another problem. In that case, we say that those techniques are not good techniques, because a good algorithm or optimization technique should be able to perform in every situation. Okay, so that is why it is very much difficult to find the Pareto font by most of the techniques. Okay, using these weight functions, because in complicated cases what happens, the weight functions increases in numbers. Okay, so for more than two objective functions, complexity, the number of combinations make this impractical. So this finding out the solution using the weight functions does not become practically possible. So in those cases, a separate technique of weight functions are used and separate technique of optimization methods are used. So it should be remembered that each point on the Pareto front is found by solving an optimization problem. So this Pareto front means the line where the best solution lies is actually determined by the optimization techniques, because this is a optimization problem. So for optimization problems only this is applicable. And if the problem is very much complex and non-linear, then simple step of getting just one solution may not be trivial, or it may not be satisfactory. So this is the case where we apply genetic algorithm or some other method. So that means in those cases the technique of Pareto optimality will not help us. So in those cases we have to go for different other objectives to find the Pareto font, because Pareto font finding is important, but this weight function will not help us. Okay, with weight function will not help us. Okay, so there are different techniques. Okay, so now okay, so since the power cut is there, so I have limited internet with me, so I am closing my lecture for today up to this. Okay, so if you have any question you can ask. So first tell me, this multi-objective function, have you understood that what is multi-objective function and what is optimization of multi-objective function? I hope all of you understood. If not, then please tell. Akshay, have you understood what is multi-objective? Because this topic has been discussed since last month. So what
Yes, sir, I have understood.
multi-objective understood. So what is optimization
Yes.
technique and why it is used, you have understood. Now, yes.
Yes, sir, I have understood.
Okay. So now basically the multi-objective function and the different now there are certain techniques of finding the solution of the multi-objective function. Now Pareto optimality is one technique. Okay, but whenever you are using this weight function, it helps us in certain extent. But when the objective functions now count becomes more than 2, then it does not help us. In those cases we have to use certain different techniques. Okay, because all these techniques which we generally use are stochastic in nature, and they apply the meta heuristic approach. So what is stochastic, what is meta heuristic, and next we will discuss about the evolutionary techniques. So all these things we will discuss in the next lecture. Okay, so then I'm ending this session today's session up to here on itself. Okay. So as I mentioned that since there was a power cut, I did not know that when the connection was lost. So I will upload the total lecture in the YouTube, so you can access that from there. Okay. Okay then.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you then. Thank you, student.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.